This time I'd like to turn it over to people from Loving Hands Ministry. I think Gus is going to talk to us today. Gus is what's your title? Program Director for Loving Hands. He's going to share a little bit about what they do. Come on up, Gus.
Well, good morning. Good to be here with you. We had a good time our first service. Thank you for allowing us to share these moments with you. As Pastor said, I am the Program Director of Loving Hands Ministries, and what Loving Hands Ministries is, it's a discipleship program for men with drug addictions, alcohol addictions. We're a residential treatment facility. We have 10 acres here in Palmetto. We have multiple campuses, but we are set up to really help men that battle with heroin addictions, alcohol addictions, any sort of addictions. But a lot of the men that come to us are an alternative from prison, or instead of going to prison for 5 years, they get sentenced to us. And Pastor Wendell started this ministry 34 years ago. He was ministering in jail, and he was seeing inmates receive the message of Jesus Christ. But once they were being released from jail and being back into society, they will fall back into the sinful ways. So he said there has to be a better way to disciple these men closer. So he felt God told him to start Loving Hands Ministries. And it's a very disciplined, structured program, 6.5 hours a day. We are grounded in the Word of God. There's no television, there's no newspaper, there's no coffee. It's just church and God for pretty much 2 years. So for me personally, it's had an amazing transformation in my life. I have been serving now for 5 years. In 2012, I was lost in the streets of Miami. I was born and raised in Miami-Dade. I got involved with gangs and organized crimes. I was in and out of prison since I was 16 years old. I had no hope for my life, and I really reached my breaking point at 25 years old. I was going to be involved in a robbery, and God intervened in a robbery that I attempted to do. And my friend lost his life in the middle of the robbery. He was killed by law enforcement, and I survived. I was taken to jail, and I was facing 55 years. And I remember my life suddenly flashed before my eyes, and I thought to myself, is this what I was born to do? Is this what my mother birthed me and carried me in her womb for 9 months for? And for some reason, I realized at that point of burying a friend, knowing that it should have been me, that there was more to life than what I was wasting it on. And I thank God there was a place like Loving Hands that I came, and Pastor Wendell opened the doors to me wide open, and I had nothing to offer. But he loved me with the unconditional love of Jesus Christ, and it changed my life. I remember this man hugged me one time. I was fresh off the streets. My father battles addiction. I've never had a godly influence of a man in my life. And I walked into these doors of Loving Hands Ministries, and I had a tough exterior. I'm full of tattoos at this time, skinhead. And he calls me over and he calls me, son, come over here. I didn't know this man. And he hugged me and held me in his arms. And all I could do, I remember, is cry like a baby. And I didn't know why I was crying, but I knew he was holding me in his arms for 10, 15 minutes. And all I could do is cry, because at that point I realized that I was being held, and what was coming out of this man was the unconditional love of God in him. And that ultimately changed me and inspired me to live for Jesus. So Loving Hands is a great place, and we thank you for your support throughout the years. We have a booth out there with some brochures, some pictures if you're interested in getting to know us more. We actually have a couple events coming up. I think Pastor might share about the golf tournament, and we'll just love to partner with you and fellowship with you. Again, we'll be at the table if you have any questions, concerns, prayers. And again, thank you for this time. We express our gratitude. God bless.